I think one of the most important quotes in the Bible is Matthew 13:13 in the King James Version, which is, I speak to them in parables because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And that is just a fact. In order to understand something, you have to learn it. Okay? We have inherent abilities to learn, and we have inherent knowledge. Almost how animals just know what to do. Animals have an understanding. They have animal instincts. I believe that we also have animal instincts because we are human beings. We are animals. But we, unfortunately, have, because of the way that our brain works, we are able to be hijacked, completely hijacked, our brains. So we have to learn right now, 2024, we have to start learning how to use our own common sense again, because we've been just manipulated and lied to. Now, I'll give you a perfect example of this, all right? So back in the day, the word son, S-O-N, in Old Germanic was actually S-U-N, and vice versa. So over the years, when we've gone from Old Germanic to Romanizing the languages, we have basically flipped everything on its head. I mean, we've done this so many ways, and it can be said in the 7 Hermetic Principles, polarity, really. Polarity, or that, you know, as above, so below. All of these different ideas that we have, and the elite, the people that control us, they've used these principles and they have flipped everything on its head so we can no longer understand stuff. Now, my son, my S-O-N, like I said, used to be my S-U-N, and that switched. So when people say the Son of God, what they are referring to is the sun in the sky of God, because that is God's sun. Because who owns the sun? Do you? Do you own the sun? Does China own the sun? Does America own the sun? Does England own the sun? Who owns the sun? God owns the sun. That's God's sun. The sun brings light to earth, which brings life to earth. There would be no life on earth without the Son of God. All right, now when we change that into Old Germanic, there would be no life on earth without the Son, the S-O-N of God. Boom, there you go. It's that simple. Listen, we've been massively manipulated, okay? The word devil is the word evil with a D on it, all right? When they talk about the Antichrist in the Bible, people don't even understand what the word Antichrist means. It means standing in the position of Christ. We teach people that it means against, going against Christ, and that's not even truly what it means. Antichrist biblically means to stand in the place of Christ. So we're taking these ideas and we're just running with them. And the Catholic Church, the priests, the pastors, the preachers, all of these people have been teaching it incorrectly. There are lots of people that teach it correctly, myself included, and I do the best I can because, of course, I'm still learning. I'm still a baby at this. We all are. We're babies because we've been lied to since we were babies. And now we're adults coming into the truth, coming into the light, coming into the knowledge. In knowledge, you have to, for one thing, you have to forget about your ego if you want to learn new things, and you have to get rid of your belief system, because a belief system is not the truth. Believing and truth are two totally different things. When you start to learn about words, the meaning of words, you start to understand things like Elohim, which is God, which is what God is translated to, Elohim. When you really go back and start looking into Elohim, it all dates back to Saturn and the worship of Saturn and Saturnian gods. El is a Saturnian god. This is where you get words like elder and elite, and this is where you get black robes from, the worship of Saturn and Saturn's rings. You know, we make movies about it still, the Lord of the Rings. This is all Saturnian, okay? Now, even when you start to begin to look at Moses and Moses's people, back in these days, they were worshiping the moon. They were worshiping volcanoes. They were worshiping things, okay? It's Saturnian. It's all, so that's what you got to understand. And all the Hebrew stuff is Saturnian, all right? That's where we get laws from. Saturn, because Saturn is the inhibitor, the great inhibitor. He inhibits you from doing things. Saturn. People that study astrology and understand what I'm saying, they know that this is true. People that understand the truth about the Bible, that the New Testament is symbolic. Jesus is a representation of you becoming your highest level, upping your mind, your whole everything, becoming the highest spiritual being you can be, in completely enlightened, praying in the temple. Everything is the temple of Solomon, Sol, Om, On, Sun, Sun, Sun. Om, Sun in Hindu, Sol, Sun in Latin, On, Sun in Egyptian, Sun. Okay, the Bible encodes two amazing stories in it, in my opinion. The story of Moses 4,000 years ago, the story of Aries, and 2,000 years of Aries, and Jesus in 2,000 years of Pisces, which brings us to today. That's why when I think it's funny, people will say, oh, you're a truther, you believe in the things you believe in, then you believe in the Bible? Yeah, because I understand how to read it. I understand what it means. I understand the entire book is symbolism. The Old Testament is about the material world and being becoming, it's all about worship and worshiping idols, and it's all material. It's the lower vibrations, the lower chakras, the lower frequencies. And then the New Testament is Jesus embarking on a mission to free the world by explaining to people how to become a higher version of yourself, how to always choose the right thing and not the wrong, how to always think of other people, and how can I make this better for everyone, not myself, for everyone. That's what Jesus represents, the Son of God. The Son has been dying on the cross, the Southern Cross, which is a constellation of 4 stars, the smallest constellation in the sky. The Son has been dying on that cross every single year since we know the beginning of time. What do I mean dying on the cross? The sun on the winter equinox, which is what we celebrate, which is what the winter equinox is the sun dying. It stops moving. The sun moves 1 degree every day. This is where we get our idea of the Gregorian calendar, and the idea of calendars is that because the sun moves 1 degree a day. Now the Gregorian calendar, has done a number on time, and it's obviously off. Admittedly, it's off. And that's why other, religions have to actually switch over to a lunar calendar during certain parts of the year to celebrate their holidays correctly, because the Gregorian calendar is off. So start to understand these things and learn these things. I post a lot of videos about solar calendars, lunar calendars. I post a lot of videos about this type of information, and I get banned for it because it's freeing, and they don't want you to be free. They want your mind to be trapped on a spinning ball of water, believing in nonsense. Sorry to be the guy to break this to you, but we have to understand what we're even talking about, because the Bible is true. There's so much truth in the Bible. Learn how to read it correctly. There's a lot of truth in a lot of different ideologies and theologies out there, and they all encode the same damn message. So I think it's funny when people of other religions are bashing other religions. You're an idiot. You believe this, you believe that. These people are crazy. These people are nuts. Or this guy, that guy, this lady, that woman. You know what? When you get down to the bottom of theology, they're all encoding the same message. And it's all about the stars. The stars, the sun, the moon, the constellations, the position of the constellations, the 4 seasons, which were once 3 seasons. This is what it's all about. All right, the 13 constellations, which were once 12, which was once 10, which was probably once 8, probably once 4, all the way down to none. To the beginning of time, when it was divided in half between night and day. It was that simple. Night was set. The evil gods set because of sunset. Learn what it is. Horizon is Horus. Horus. Learn Horus. What Horus is. There was Isis and Osiris. These were the Egyptian gods and goddesses. Isis had a baby with Osiris. They named the baby Horus. When people wanted to pray to God, they had to pray to Horus, the son of God, God's son, because the son represented God. Because think about this. You're a man, you have a child, or you're a woman, you have a child. As a man more so, but your son is a representation of you. That's why when your son does something stupid, you feel some sort of way, because your son is representing you. So the Son of God, God's son in the sky that was representing God, this is who the ancient people would pray to. They would have to pray to him, the Son, because you couldn't pray to God. You couldn't talk to God directly, because that's God you're talking about. So his son would be who you spoke to, and they would watch the sun rise, and the son's name was Horus, and they would watch Horus rising through the sky, and Horus would walk across the sky in 12 steps, the 12 zodiacal constellations through the day, and at night Horus would die. What he would do was ride his boat through the underworld as they would try and slay him, and he would die. And this is the 3 phases of day and night in the sun. 3 phases of the Son, the Son of God. He was born, he was the risen Savior in the morning, he was risen. The Son of God had risen. He was the high and mighty Savior in the afternoon, and at night he would die. The Son would die. Now, and this is a triune relationship between the Son and the Son of God, and what's going on here. It's a triune relationship between the sun and day and night, all right? Now, this is some old ancient worship, and that this is what they believed because they didn't know. And then as time went on, the ancient philosophers figured out many things. That, for one thing, human beings desire knowing things. They need to know. We have a desire, an unquenchable thirst to know things. Now, if that's the case, and we need to know things, and philosophers and all these people back then, 4, 5, 6,000 years ago, were saying, well, we really don't know anything. You know, the further we dig, the less we know even. The more you know, the less you know. And these kings would hire these people, and they would whisper these fancy little, fun little phrases into their ears, you know, just like that. The more you know, the less you know. And the kings and the lords that would hire them would be angry. Why did I pay you for that? You kidding me right now? So they had to come up with a plan. What do we do? Well, we create fakery and we lie because there is no truth. We don't know what the truth is. So we'll lie, and we'll sell the lie to everyone at a cost, and we'll use it to enslave people. And that's what they've done. So start to understand, start to learn the meaning of words, start to learn what it's all about. I mean, think about the church, think about religion. It's because of it, people have been killing each other. People have been turned into animals and killing each other. And that's what they do. That's what religion has done for thousands of years. It's turned people who have the ability of becoming higher-minded and spiritual people, higher-minded above all of this violence and nonsense and hatred and anything. And we have the ability to do that because we're not monkeys. But that is what religion and church has done. Even the word church itself. Learn what it means. The word church comes from the English word church. It comes from the Scottish word kirk, K-I-R-K-E. The Scottish word kirk comes from the Roman goddess Circe, who comes from the Egyptian goddess Circe. What was Circe known for? Now understand that the word church is the word Circe. That's where it dates back to. What was Circe known for? Circe would enchant people into her house using magic and hypnosis. She would hypnotize them, singing songs, and she was beautiful, and she would just enchant you, hypnotize you into her house. When she got you there, she would sleep with you, okay? And she would turn you into an animal, and she would eat you and live off of you. And she had many animals. And there are famous Renaissance photos of Circe with animals all around her. One of them, I believe, is called Circe and her lovers. And it's Circe and all of her animals, all of the people she turned into animals. And if you think about that, that is exactly like I just said. Church has been doing to people for thousands and thousands of years. And it's time to wake up and learn the truth. I love you all. And this is for your entertainment. I have to say it, or the videos will get taken down and the whole world craps their pants. I mean, it's sad. It's sad because these words can be looked up. Go to a library, get a dictionary. Stop looking on Google. I'm sorry to say, but Google is lying. And it's embarrassing now. Go to a library. There are plenty. Every town, every city has a library. Go in there. Please, go research some stuff. Jeez. Love you all. Check me out at my website, withthesun33.com.